For basically all of human history, we've looked up at that little red dot in the night sky and just dreamed. Well, what used to be pure science fiction is now becoming science fact, like really fast. It's totally possible that in the next couple of decades, one of us, someone listening right now, could be the first to actually step onto the surface of Mars. So today we're going to dive into the incredible, mind-blowing plan to make the Red Planet our second home. And it all starts with a pretty serious question.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. Why? Why go through all of this insane trouble? I mean, Earth is amazing. It's our home. Why would we ever want to leave? And that's a totally fair question, but it has a really simple and frankly kind of terrifying answer. Earth is not always going to be a safe place for us.
Just think about it for a second. The dinosaurs ruled this planet for 150 million years, and then one day, a single rock from space came screaming in and poof, gone. An entire era ended in one catastrophic event. Now, if something even remotely similar happened today, our entire civilization could be gone in an instant. This isn't just a Hollywood movie plot. It's a real, even if it's a very rare, possibility.
And that, right there, is exactly why so many of the world's top scientists and visionaries are all saying the same thing. For humanity to survive in the long run, we have to become a multi-planetary species. It's really that simple. We cannot keep all of our eggs in one basket. So, okay, if we have to go somewhere else, where do we even begin to look?
Well, when you start looking around our solar system for a new home, you can actually narrow down the options surprisingly fast. I mean, most planets are just gas giants with no surface to stand on, or they're way too hot or way too cold. Take our closest neighbor, Venus. It's a total hellscape. It's 450 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt lead, and its atmosphere is literally clouds of sulfuric acid. The verdict on Venus? Yeah, that's instant death. So that really only leaves one logical candidate.
So that leaves Mars. It's our best and really our only viable option. And what's amazing is that when you start to look closer, you realize Mars isn't just some random dead rock. It's actually, well, it's surprisingly similar to Earth in a few really important ways. And just look at this. It can almost feel familiar. A day on Mars? It's just 37 minutes longer than a day here. It has seasons, just like we do. It has a solid surface you can actually walk on and build on. And maybe most important of all, it has water. A lot of it actually, just locked away as ice at the poles and right under the ground. It's about as Earth-like as we could ever hope to find.
Okay, but let's be super clear about this. Mars is not Earth 2.0, not even close. It is a hostile, incredibly dangerous world that will try to kill you in about a dozen different ways. Surviving there, never mind building a whole civilization, is probably the single greatest engineering challenge our species has ever decided to take on.
And that challenge starts before you even arrive. Just getting there takes 7 to 9 months. And because of how the planets line up in their orbits, you can only even try to launch once every 26 months. What that means is, if something goes wrong, you can't just turn around and come home. It is a one-way ticket, at least for a very, very long time.
All right, so you've made it. You've landed. You open the door. The first thing you'd notice is pretty much nothing. The atmosphere is just 1% as thick as Earth's. Oh, and it's also 95% carbon dioxide, which is completely toxic to us. If you stepped outside without a suit, you would pass out in about 15 seconds and be gone in less than 2 minutes.
It is also unbelievably cold. The average temperature is a bone-chilling minus 60 degrees Celsius. That is colder than the most brutal winters in Antarctica. And at night, the temperature can just plummet down to minus 125 degrees. It's so cold your blood would literally start to freeze.
And then there's the invisible killer, radiation. See, here on Earth, we have this powerful magnetic field that acts like a giant planetary shield, deflecting all sorts of nasty solar and cosmic radiation. It's also what's kept our atmosphere from being stripped away over billions of years. Well, Mars lost its magnetic field a long, long time ago. So its atmosphere is thin and its surface is just constantly being bombarded by deadly radiation. It's a world that is actively trying to end you.
So, if Mars is this dangerous, how in the world do we even think about surviving there? Well, this is where the story pivots from the problems to the incredible, honestly mind-bending solutions. This is how we plan to conquer this hostile new world.
The absolute key to unlocking Mars is this machine, SpaceX's Starship. It is the most powerful rocket ever built, period. It can haul over 100 metric tons of cargo all the way to Mars, but the real magic trick? It's fully reusable. It can fly, land, and fly again, kind of like an airplane.
And that one feature slashes the cost of getting to Mars from something that's astronomically impossible to something that's just, well, very, very expensive. This one vehicle is what makes the whole dream possible.
Of course, we can't possibly ship everything we need from Earth. The cost would be insane. The solution is this really clever idea called ISRU, or In Situ Resource Utilization. The whole principle is simple. Live off the land. You use the materials that you find on Mars to build and sustain everything you need. So how do you build a house on Mars? Simple. You print it. The plan is to send these massive 3D printers ahead of any humans. These robots will scoop up the Martian soil, they call it regolith, and use it like a kind of concrete, printing habitats layer by layer. And by building them partially underground, you can use the soil itself as a natural shield against all that deadly radiation.
Okay, shelter's covered. But what about the absolute must-haves for life? Well, water comes first. We'll drill down into those huge polar ice caps and underground glaciers. Then you need oxygen. And here's the real game changer. We can make oxygen right out of the air. Remember how the atmosphere is 95% carbon dioxide? Well, an experiment on the Perseverance rover called MOXIE already proved it can suck in that Martian air and convert it into pure, breathable oxygen. It actually works. For food, we'll use hydroponics, growing plants in nutrient-rich water under LED lights. It's a technique that's already been proven to work on the International Space Station.
And we can't really talk about Mars without getting a sense of the sheer scale of this vision. This is not about planting a flag and then coming home. As this quote from Elon Musk makes pretty clear, the goal is to create a permanent, self-sustaining civilization, a whole second branch for humanity.
So what does this future actually look like? This is not some short-term science project. This is a multi-generational effort to establish a brand new home for humanity out there among the stars.
And the roadmap is ambitious, but it is clear. Sometime in the 2030s, we could see the very first human boots on Martian soil. By the 2050s, the goal is to have the first permanent colony up and running, a small town, maybe a few hundred people. And by the end of this century, the vision is for a sprawling city, home to 1 million Martians.
But a project this big raises these huge, profound questions we've just never had to answer before. I mean, Mars doesn't belong to any country, so how will it be governed? Who gets to make the laws? And think about the kids who are born there. Growing up in Mars's lower gravity, they will literally be physically different from us. They will truly be Martians. It's a chance for a totally fresh start, a chance to build a society from the ground up, and maybe, just maybe, avoid some of the same mistakes we've made back here on Earth.
Now, some people will argue, and it's a valid point, that we should solve all our problems here on Earth first. But if you look at history, exploration and progress have always gone hand in hand. That drive to explore, to cross oceans, to climb mountains, to reach for the moon, that's what makes us human. Mars isn't an escape from our problems, it's the next logical step in that incredible journey.
So the next time you're outside at night and you look up and see that little red dot, just remember that within your lifetime, it might become home to cities, to families, to a whole new civilization. We are the generation that gets to watch humanity go from being a terrestrial species to a multi-planetary one. The question really isn't if we're going to go anymore, it's when. And what kind of future are we going to build for ourselves when we finally get there?